Hey folks, LA Little here, TA Today. I'm going to bring you an update here on uranium. And the reason for it is, uranium hasn't gone anywhere for quite a while. And matter of fact, it's been in the doldrums and has been painful to be in. We narrowed down, if you go back and look at the videos, the whole thing that we looked at was way back here. We said, hey, top is probably in, we're going to go sideways. Well, sideways actually ended up down. It was painful all the way. And if you didn't lighten up back here and kind of hold your horses right, you really basically got chewed up. So it's starting to try and turn, and I want to bring an update because you got the buzz going on today with the Constellation Energy news with Microsoft going to supply them power and restart 3 Mile Island, and you got a nice pop here you can see starting out today. Question is this enough? Do we have a turn? So let's go through that. Hey folks, before I forget, let me ask you, if you like what you see, please give me a like, hit the subscribe button. That way you see my content when it comes out. You can, of course, tell friends, tell colleagues, tell people you don't even like that these videos are useful, hopefully to you, and if so, potentially be useful for them. I appreciate it. First thing I want to do is I want to bring an update here. I had a question last video saying, hey, what is this thing? This is the trading cube. The trading cube basically tells you at a snapshot, just like an accountant's balance sheet, at a snapshot tells you the trend of the stock, the sector, and the general market where that thing trades. And so if we look at the uranium Sprott Physical, it's in the basic materials and it trades out of Toronto. And so that's what this is. And what these things are is they basically tell you the trend. This is trend short term, intermediate term, long term. And that's true of the sector, that's true of the individual market. And so you can see at a snapshot what's going on. Now, there's another tool that if you bring it up, these little numbers that are under here tell you how extended that trend is. And that trend basically is a thing that comes into existence when a trend gets created, and you can look at it on a chart here. Trend got created right there. That was the bearish trend. How long has it been in effect? Well, it's been in effect this number of bars. How much does that affect the life cycle? Well, it's about 10% into its life cycle. This is a cumulative number, and so if it goes long enough, it gets up. Well, there's two things that can happen. One is this number until you get to about 20, 15 or so, 20, you've got the potential for it to break another swing point high and change trend. And so, until you get over that hump, you can assume it's probably going to stay that way for a while, like this one's at 25. Well, once it gets its life cycle going, the odds of it staying until it gets up to around 65, 70, even 80, that is how long this thing can go. So, this has a ways to go. In other words, it should take time before it breaks this next swing point high. It doesn't have to, but that's the general data that's been provided, which the research I did many years back. But you can see out here, you've got, and the most important trend, of course, is the long term. So your long term, then your intermediate, then your short. So this bounces around a lot. This bounces around a little bit less. This bounces very little. And so we got long term bullish, bearish, bearish. When this flips back to bullish, you're going to have a nice situation where this is probably going to change. And so that's where we're at. We're looking to see this thing go bullish. Now, if you go to the charts and you actually look at this on the charts, what has this thing done? Well, you can kind of see this rounding type bottom that's starting to take place, but it hasn't happened yet. But what has happened is a lot of the bearish retest regens have been broken along the way. There was one here. A bearish retest regen is where you break a swing point low. In this case, this denotes that this was broken, and you come back up and you close over it, right? That tells you that you're probably in a range, and in this case, that range is about here. So you want to see this thing get back over the swing point high and stay there. That number up there is about 26, 25.99. That's on a short term. On the intermediate term time frame, you'll want to see it get over this swing point lows high. That's the retest regen, and it hasn't been able to do it so far. And if we look at that number, or we look at it and pull it over to look at it, you can see that number's up around 26, 27. We would know that the intermediate term time frame is no longer in a downtrend, right? This thing isn't pushing to the downside anymore, right? If and when we get back over that swing point lows high. And so we're looking to see that take place. Once we do, then we know we've got a range. Where will the range be? Well, you got to take these lows down here. How far do you go up? I think the first part of the range is here, and then if you take and double it, let me do that, put it up there, the top part of the range is up there. And so what you're trying to do is you're trying to get equidistance type ranges when you look at them. And so in other words, if I saw it close over this swing point high, that would be over probably the boundary, and that tells me I can go to the top. And so that's what I'm looking for. Now, mind you, we haven't got over this little area right here, which is essentially that area there. And once we get over that, then we've got something cooking. Until then, we don't. Now, I know there's a lot of excitement today. I'm excited myself. You know, I'm still holding a large position here because long term this thing's bullish, but it hasn't done it yet. But if we go elsewhere, we're starting to see it happen. For example, if I go to the stock and to take the most popular one, you know, the largest weighted one, CCJ, here, if I go in the intermediate term time frame, you can actually see that bearish retest regen. Where was it? Where was the last one broken? Right here. What did it break? It broke this one. And what have we done? We closed over it. Let's get the top. That is 4274. We closed, we will be closing over it this week if we can hold 4274. So that tells me we potentially have something really significant cooking. We've come down, we tested that little bottom, we've held, and we're trying to close up in this area, which is over the bearish retest regen. And that says, hey, this thing's in a sideways trend. That what was down is no longer down, right? What was this way is no longer down, it's sideways. And that's what you're looking for, and we're almost there. And so if we do that, right, and you take equidistance trends here, you can see that probably I would take this one, and then if I double that guy, it's probably going to take me to the top. And if we do it, yeah, right up to the top. And so that is the key. And so what does that tell you? This little bar is top right there where all the volume is on this one. That's the one you really want to get over. That's around 46. That tells you more than likely you can go up here again, which says this long-term trend that's been bullish and still is bullish is getting ready to reassert itself. I'm not going to go through all the stocks. You can go through them yourselves, but that's where we're at. Things are starting to cook. The buzz that you see today is telling you that we're on the cusp of this thing finally finding a bottom. Got a sideways range in effect on the intermediate term time frame, still bullish on the long term time frame. What does that tell you? More than likely going up before this is all over. Have a great one. Take care. See you next time.